Hi there, thank you for stopping by today. Well, in today's video, I will be sharing with you our new raised garden bed. I'll show you how we built them, what we filled them with, and then finally what our current garden looks like. So be sure to stick around. My name is Luann. In just a little bit, we're going to be going outside and I'm going to be sharing with you all about our new raised garden beds. But before I do, I think there's a few things that I need to clear up with you. The first one is that I think you should know this is our very first garden. That may surprise some of you, but up until now, we've always purchased our produce from the farmer's market, or we have some local farmers that allow the public to come onto their land and handpick their own crops. And what I don't get at those two places, I buy at the grocery store in the produce section. But with prices becoming what they are and availability is a little scary nowadays, and I don't think it's going to be improving anytime in the future. I think now more than ever, it's very important to have your own garden at home. So that's where I'm at. Now, I was raised with my parents always having 3 or 4 gardens at all times. Same with my grandparents. They would have 3 or 4 different gardens going at all times. So I've spent a lot of time in gardens, just not my own. And over the last few years, I've done a little bit of container gardening, but honestly, I haven't had much luck. So this is all a big learning curve for me, and I'm really glad to be sharing it with you as this journey continues. I know there are a lot of experienced gardeners out there watching my videos, and I welcome any and all advice that you can give. So that's a little bit about where we stand as far as gardening goes. I don't want to come on here and mislead you into thinking that I'm some kind of master gardener, because I am definitely quite the opposite of that. And I hope that moving forward on this channel, these videos will help other people that are interested in first-time gardening. And I'm sure you're going to see a lot of mistakes made by me, but it's going to be a fun and exciting learning experience. So another thing that I guess I should throw out there is that I am not living on acres of land. I live in town in an older established neighborhood, and all of our yards are separated with privacy fences. And the location of my home is in the middle of a cul-de-sac, so I kind of have a pie-shaped backyard where all of our yards meet in the corner. So not a lot of space to choose from, and in the most practical place that we should have put these garden beds is actually low, and whenever it rains, that area of our yard gets a little flooded. So we ended up putting these right up next to the house, which is perfectly okay with me. Once we get the hang of this, it's going to make it very convenient for me to just run outside and grab whatever I need to when I need to. Whenever I went into this, I was picturing this as 3 separate garden beds, but we ended up having to put them together in a U shape so that it would fit and we could get around the outside of the garden to have access to everything. Okay, so now that you understand the location of these beds, let me explain to you how we went about building them. The materials that we used for this were 8 2 by 10 by 8 feet long boards. We took the first 2, cut them in half, nailed them together, and made a 4 by 4 bed. Now for our other 2 beds, they're actually 4 feet by 8 feet long, so we used 3 boards for that, cutting 1 in half for each end, and then using 2 whole boards for the sides. And that is as simple as it gets. We just nailed them all in rectangle shape and then the square shaped one, and then we just put them together in the U-shaped pattern. Now I am in the process of laying down some block to fill in the space here so that we don't have to worry about the weed eater or the lawnmower throwing the grass clippings into the garden and seeding. But I'm in South Texas and it gets very, very hot. And as of right now, here it is going on 6:30 in the evening and it's still around 84 degrees. So during the hottest part of the day, we're still up in the 90s. So that's as far as I got, but I think I got a pretty good start. Okay, so back to the beds. Once we got them nailed together and put in place, then we laid down cardboard. This is going to work as a weed barrier, and it's also over time going to break down and become part of the compost. After that, we went out and bought 40 bags of soil. And let me explain this a little bit. We started out with 30. We had 15 bags of a manure and compost blend and 15 bags of regular topsoil. And we just layered those evenly throughout the 3 beds, alternating layer by layer. We put 7 bags of each. Let me see if I get that right. Yes. We put 7 bags of each in each of the long beds. Yes, and then 2 bags of each in the smaller bed. And once we did that, you can see here in this picture, it really wasn't quite deep enough. So then my husband went back and picked up another 10 bags of the manure compost blend. And we divided those evenly throughout the garden. And I feel that, that was a good start because we knew between now and springtime, we're going to be adding to and turning over this garden. So that's where we started out with 25 of the manure and compost blend and 15 of the topsoil. Now let's get into the plant. I'll show you these in more detail in just a few minutes, but I have some green beans from seed, zucchini from seed. In the back I have 4 tomato plants and 1 cabbage. We have a huge pine tree in our front yard that's dropping needles very heavily right now. So I went out and filled a whole wheelbarrow full of the pine needles, and that's what I'm currently using as mulch in the beds. And it seems to be working great. Okay, so now this is what the garden looks like, and let me tell you a little more details about what I have. Here's a few herbs that I have in pots. There's some basil, lemon balm, and spearmint. Here are the green beans. Again, I started these from seed. They're Kentucky Wonder pole beans. I planted 20 seeds, and I believe I have 12 plants. In the back, these were from seed. It is zucchini. I planted 10, and right now I have 3 in the back, 3 in the second row, and I moved 2 over to the other bed just to spread them out a little bit. And then these are my 4 tomato plants in the back and the 1 little cabbage in the front. I planted the marigolds because I heard they help with pollination, plus they're edible too. Those 2 zucchini plants that I moved to help spread out. I realize they're all a little too close right now. This is another basil that I have. And then here in the corner is a rosemary. Now during the process of having tomato plants and 4 different types of tomato plants, I've learned a little bit about them. And for those of you that are new to gardening like I am, I want to share this information with you. And for you experts, I ask that you humor me for just a few seconds. Okay, I have learned that there are 2 types of tomato plants. There's the indeterminate and determinate. The determinate grow to a certain height. They usually ripen early, and they pretty much produce their fruit all at once and then they're done. These are the type that you can grow in containers very easily because they're not going to get huge. And they're also the most useful when it comes to canning. Indeterminate continue to grow throughout the entire growing season, and they produce fruit throughout that time period as well. These are the type that are usually going to need staked up because they're going to grow very, very tall. The indeterminate should be pruned by removing the bottom sucker growth, and from what I've read, you're supposed to remove that growth up into the first flowering branches. This is going to help promote healthier growing, new growth, and stronger fruit bearing vines. The indeterminate plant will continue to grow, usually until the first frost. Now, the way that I keep these separated in my mind is determinate. They have already determined how tall they're going to grow and how much fruit they're going to produce, so they just go ahead and get it over with. The indeterminate, they're undecided. They just grow and grow and grow and just keep producing the fruit until the frost says that's enough. So that's just the way that I remember things in my own mind. I don't know if that'll help you or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me show you the rest of the garden. Here are the zucchini plants. And like I said, I know these are too close, but that's what practice is all about. I have 3 in the back row and 3 in the second row. Over here are a few more herbs that I have. If you saw my Aldi haul, this is that little raised garden that I bought from there. But I have never had any luck with thyme, but it looks like I have a little bit in the back that's starting to come up. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have sage and oregano in there with it. Now, as you saw in those pictures, my tomatoes are in desperate need of being staked, and I need to get something up so that my pole beans will start vining and growing. So that's what I'm going to show you in the next picture, and here it is. Okay, I had these 2 little trellises already, so I just stuck one on each end of the row, along with a tomato stake on the other end and some garden twine, and I just zigzagged it back and forth. And I'm hoping that these will withstand the strong winds that we have here in South Texas. Now it's time to stake up the tomatoes, and this is something that I bought off of Amazon. I've never used these before, but they had great reviews, and I will definitely link it down below in case you're interested in trying them out. What I like most about these is there should be enough in this box to do 5 full-sized tomato plants, but you can also configure this however you need to for other uses as well. Like I could have bought this and used it for the beans if I needed to. Here's just a quick picture of what it looks like. They all simply snap together. And then this is showing you that there's enough for 5 different tomato plants. This is how they look on the actual plant. I'm very, very satisfied with these. These provide so much more support than just the tomato stake. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, and I'll show you how that one turns out. Here's a look at all of them together. Okay, so that's my garden as it sits right now today. And I'll continue to give some updates as things start to grow and hopefully produce. Now, all of you experienced gardeners, like I said before, I welcome any advice that you may want to share with us in the comments. And to all you new gardeners out there, or someone even just thinking about becoming a new gardener, I hope that this has motivated you in some way. And if you have just started out for the first time, please share with us down below anything that you've learned in the process. I went into this fall garden knowing that it's going to be trial and error, and mainly it's just to get the bed set up and do a little bit of practicing before spring rolls around. Well, before you leave, be sure to like this video if it's brought you any kind of enjoyment, and if you've learned anything at all. Also, like this video if you feel that it's important to grow your own garden. If you haven't subscribed, I hope that you'll take a few seconds to do that now, and I look so forward to seeing you in the next one.